Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be doing another update of Washington Dulles International Airport. We've gone through all of our reintroduction updates. We did kind of our past reintroduction update where we went through all the airlines that have now stopped service at Washington Dulles. We've now done the future introduction update where we've gone through all of the airlines that will or have just started service to Washington Dulles, and now we're back to the regularly scheduled time-based airport updates. So with that being said, the next three updates, I think I'm going to have them based throughout the course of a day. So in today's update, we have a morning update where we have all of the morning airlines that have come in, and then in the next update, we'll probably do like a late afternoon update, and then after that, we'll do an evening or night update where we have all of the really late airlines. And then I'm thinking after that, as we haven't had much United action, as I only really have concourses A and B here, the fourth update after these next three will be essentially using concourses A and B as C and D. So we're just going to have all the gates filled up with United aircraft just to at least get some United action into a Washington Dulles update. But with that being said, just like usual, we're going to go ahead and start here with Alaska. And so starting off here, we have this Alaska Airbus A321neo in the More to Love color scheme. This aircraft is going to be heading out to San Francisco and California. Again, Alaska are using the A321neos to Los Angeles and San Francisco at the moment, but the A321neos are set to be retired in September of this year, so we only have a couple more months of Alaska A321neo operations. But then after that here, we have this Alaska Boeing 737-900ER, and this aircraft is going to be heading out to Seattle in Washington. Next up, we have this American Boeing 737-800. He's going to be heading out to Charlotte in North Carolina. And then next up here, we have another American 737-800, but this one is going to be heading out to Dallas-Fort Worth in Texas. Next up, moving around to this side, we have this Delta Connection CRJ-700. This aircraft is going to be heading out to New York JFK. And then next up, moving on to the main lines, here we have this Delta Airbus A319. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Atlanta in Georgia. And then finally here for Delta, here we have this Delta Boeing 737-800. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Salt Lake City in Utah. And then finally here for the domestics, here we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Florida 1 color scheme. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Orlando in Florida. Moving along, here we have this Avianca Airbus A321neo. This aircraft is going to be heading out to San Salvador. Avianca don't really use the A321neo into Washington Dulles. It's usually either mainly an A320 or an A319, but this is the only narrowbody I have from Avianca. So until we get a release of an Avianca A320 or A319, this is the aircraft I'm going to be using. And then next up here, we have the Ethiopian 777-200LR. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Addis Ababa. After that, here we have the ANA Boeing 787-9 in the Star Wars R2-D2 livery. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Tokyo Haneda. Of course, before the pandemic and before I renovated Washington Dulles, ANA were using the 777-300ERs. I do have a 777-300ER from ANA, but of course now, ironically, now that I've got the 333, now they're using the 787-9s, and the only ANA 787-9 I have is this one in the Star Wars livery. So hopefully we get a regular livery soon. Of course, it's nice to occasionally have this aircraft in updates because this aircraft does occasionally fly into Washington Dulles, but of course primarily it's not going to be this special livery every time. It is going to be the regular ANA livery. So hopefully soon we get a release of an ANA 787-9. Next up here we have the Porter Q400. This one is in a special livery which has now been repainted a long time ago now, but we haven't had a re-release of a regular Porter Q400 livery, so I'm still waiting on a regular release of a Porter Q400. Pretty much the same situation as the ANA 787, but this Porter Q400 is going to be heading out to Toronto Billy Bishop. And last but not least, for this side of the terminal, we have the giant morning arrival. We have the Emirates Airbus A380, and this aircraft is going to be heading out to Dubai. Now this video, along with a couple videos previous to this and a couple videos after this, will be pre-recorded, and that is because when this video goes up, I will be away. I first fly to the DC area, but then about a week before this video goes up, I will actually be on this flight to Dubai to then connect onto Kazakhstan. So as you're watching this video, I will have now flown this flight on the Emirates A380 from Washington Dulles to Dubai. But then next up here, around the other side of the terminal, here we have the Copa Boeing 737-800. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Panama City. And next up here, we have another flight which I'll be on. We have the Qatar Airbus A350-900. And while I fly out of the DC area on the Emirates A380, I then return on the Qatar A350-1000. Of course, this is the -900. I don't at the moment have a -1000 in my collection, but this Qatar Airbus A350-900 is going to be heading out to Doha in Qatar. Next up after that, here we have this Egypt Air Boeing 787-9. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Cairo in, of course, Egypt. And then finally here for the terminal, here we have this Air India 777-300ER. This aircraft is going to be heading out to New Delhi. When Air India first started service to Washington Dulles, they were using this aircraft, the 777-300, but now they are currently using the 787-8s. I don't at the moment have a 787-8. I do actually have one on order, so hopefully by the time we do the next morning update of Washington Dulles, I will have an Air India 787-8 for that update. But for now, we have this 777-300ER heading out to New Delhi. Next up here, just taxiing in, we have this United Boeing 787-9. This aircraft has just arrived in from Cape Town, South Africa. And then next up here, we have another arrival. Here we have this United Boeing 767-300 in the Evo blue color scheme. This aircraft has arrived in from Sao Paulo in Brazil. The Sao Paulo route is currently being operated on the 767-400. So hopefully Gemini Jets will release an Evo blue color scheme 767-400 soon. They have released the Continental livery 764, but I don't really want to go for that. I want to wait for the Evo blue color scheme version because the majority of the 764s in United's fleet are in the Evo blue color scheme. So I'm going to wait for those and then we can have some accurate 767 flights. But this 767-300 has just arrived in from Sao Paulo. Then next up here we have this 767-300 in the Continental livery this time. This aircraft has just arrived in from Honolulu, Hawaii. Again, this flight as well is operated on the 764, but I don't have any 764s at the moment, so we're having to make do with the 763 just arriving in from Honolulu, Hawaii. Then next up here, just moving over to the cargo stands, here we have this FedEx Boeing 757-200. He's going to be heading out to Philadelphia. We then have this UPS Boeing 767-300 heading out to Louisville. And then next up here, we have this pretty unique arrival. We have this North Carolina based KC-135. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Seymour Johnson. And then finally here for today's updates, just lining up on the runway, we have another United 767-300 in the Evo blue color scheme. This time this is supposed to be a 763, and this aircraft is going to be heading out to London Heathrow. This is the only morning departure flight out to Europe. All the other European flights, whether they be United or the national carrier of those countries, they all come in the afternoon or the evening, but this flight is the only morning flight to Europe. So that makes this flight pretty interesting, but this 767-300, as I said, is going to be heading out to London Heathrow. But apart from that, that does conclude today's update of Washington Dulles International Airport. In the next update, we will be doing kind of like an afternoon or early evening update. So we'll have all of the European carriers in. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. But apart from that, I hope you enjoyed today's update, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.